Welcome back. So I now have an obligation, and the obligation is I've done a fine job of trashing the old model of David Ogilvy marketing, the old model of let's have a meeting, have a few scotches, and buy some ads. But that means I have an obligation to describe a different way of thinking about marketing. And often, when the new media people show up, we get so hung up on tactics. Oh, you need a Twitter ID with this many letters, you need a website, blah, 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 that we forget that we need an overarching strategy, a theory of how marketing works. So here for the first time, I want to share with you mine. It has 4 components: emotions, change, alert, and share. Now, I guess if I'd worked harder on it, it would spell something, but it doesn't. Emotions, change, alert, and share. So here we go. Emotions. When you make a product or a service that you are going to be able to sell to people for a decent price, it is probably not something people need. It is probably something that they want. Because most of the people who have enough money to buy your product or service already have everything they need. What we're left with as marketers is satisfying wants. So the question is, can you invent something that people are going to want? So let me go back to the need thing for a second, because you might be a little skeptical. People need shelter, they need water, they need food. If you can come up with a dramatically better way for people who don't have shelter to get it, for people who don't have water to get it, and for people who don't have food to get it, please do. This is urgent, and I hope you will. And the number of marketers I know who are working on those 3 projects is basically 0. Because that's not what we're spending our time on as marketers. That we don't need a marketer if we come up with a better way to bring fresh water to people who don't have it. Just bring the water. We'll show up and buy it. Thank you very much. We need a marketer when we want to be in the wants business. So what kind of emotions connect to people? Well, there's delight, which is the one that's the most fun to talk about. Can we make something that delights you? Can we so exceed the promise that we made to you that you will be delighted to buy it, right? The other choice is fear. Can we create fear that if you don't buy this, you will regret it? That if you don't grab your ticket to this concert and it gets sold out, you will regret having missed the opportunity. That fear activates us as well. Now, the naive marketer says, I don't need either of those things. I just need to tell people how great my thing is and they will buy it. Here is the problem. Problem number 1, you do not know which people to tell about it, because not everyone will be thrilled that you exist. And problem number 2, bigger problem, the people you want to tell aren't listening to you. They're not listening to you because there have been 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 marketers before you who have given them some promise and it hasn't come true. They don't trust us. They don't trust us for a reason, because false promises are the refuge of the mediocre marketer. The mediocre marketer says, you got to try this, it's the greatest thing ever. Well, actually, it's not the greatest thing ever. You're just saying that. So what we have to do, step 1, is choose which emotion we want to evoke in who. It's not for everybody, but in the people we want to help, the people we want to connect with, what are we doing for them? What emotion are we working to create? The second one was change. And Michael Schrey gets full credit for this. That what great companies do, what great organizations do, what great nonprofits do, is they cause their customers to change. That he famously said, you can understand Apple Computer if you understand them as a company that wants to give its customers better taste. That Apple is organized around the idea that you show up and after you leave, you can't use their competition because their competition seems tacky, because their competition doesn't seem elegant, because their competition doesn't seem as powerful. They have changed you. They have changed your perception of typography. They have changed your perception of what it means to walk into a retail establishment. That change is what they do for a living. Okay, so that's step 2. The third step is Once you've changed somebody, how do you build the privilege, not the right, the privilege to alert them the next time you have something you want them to buy, the next time you have news for them? I call this permission marketing, the privilege of delivering anticipated, personal, and relevant messages to the people who want to get them. Think hard about what that means. I can give you 100 examples, but we'll start with Amazon. Amazon is worth billions and billions of dollars on the stock market. Why? Is it because they have a lot of warehouses? No, warehouses are almost free. Is it because they have unbelievable software? Well, actually, no. Given the spec for their software, I could get a whole bunch of people to copy it for almost nothing. What is it that they have that's hard to replicate? What they have is the trust necessary to talk to people when the next product is ready. The trust necessary to keep those credit cards on file. The trust, the privilege, the permission to say, we know you like this, you might like that. That body of 50 or 100 million bits of data about Americans alone is almost priceless, because no one will be able to catch up to them. Because once Amazon has solved my CD buying problem, and they've solved my book buying problem, and they've solved my camera buying problem, why would I go somewhere else and give someone else permission to follow up? It's not worth it. So permission is at the heart of how you build a company going forward. Your asset is, I can whisper to the people who have already decided to trust me. And once you can do that, then you can do it again and do it again and build a real company. Instead of trying to find customers for your products, you can be in the business of finding products for your customers. So when Amanda Palmer did the most successful Kickstarter for any musician ever, how did she do that? She did it because for years and years and years, she earned the privilege of talking to her 20,000 core fans. And so when it was time to do the Kickstarter, she didn't have to run a Super Bowl ad and a full-page ad in Time magazine and a billboard. She just sent a note, a tweet, a whisper to 20,000 people, and she hit her goal within hours. Right? Scott Adams, the Dilbert cartoonist, has written more than 10 books, and every single one of them has been a bestseller compared to its competition. Every single one. How did he do that? He did it because for years and years and years, in every Dilbert cartoon, his email address was in there. And people sent him notes, and then he subscribed them to his newsletter. And so when the new book was ready, he just had to send out a note to the people who wanted to get the note. And they would run and get it, because why wouldn't they? It's something that they wanted. That's step 3.